Hello and welcome back to Bella Star Astrology. I am your host, Stella, here to talk to my Geminis about October 2022 astrology horoscope. Here is the month of October is going to be a big to do. But first, I just want to remind everybody to please like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps. Please share this information. And without further ado, let's get right into this month, Gemini. This is going to be a month of transformation. Every single house is going to be activated directly or in opposition. Like there's going to be so much going on that you're just probably, definitely going to be totally transformed, especially when it comes to your finances with your partners and maybe even your work ethic and chores around the house. But let's start with Mercury going direct in Virgo in on October 2nd, sorry. And it's going to be an interesting time just because Mercury has been doing some retrograde activity between your fifth and your fourth house, meaning it's changing your values. It's changing what you think it's fun, and it's transforming how that affects your family and your home. Whether that means that you are now going to, fully invest yourself in changing the way you run your house, in the way you balance your home, family life with your external world. This Mercury retrograde probably brought to light a lot and stirred up a lot of thoughts and inner feelings you have about your romantic relationships as it pertains to how maybe they support you in the home, or how you feel unsupported in the home, or how you feel like you're not doing enough and you would like to do more in the home. But definitely once Mercury goes direct, you really implement the changes that you've been thinking about. You might be redecorating, you might be rethinking about how, your home life balance might be needing revamping, and you might actually implement the ideas that you've been having. And speaking of home life, that's why I really think this has to do with, like, since it's moved from fifth to fourth, and now your eighth house is being activated, it might have to do with adjusting some of your romantic partnerships money. So like whether you're a husband and a wife together, or whether you are in a civil union or committed to each other, there might be some transformations in terms of the finances of your significant other, as Pluto is going direct on October 8th. So Pluto will go direct October 8th in Capricorn. It will be in your eighth house. This is the traditional house for Pluto, which means more so than other signs, you're probably going to have an even stronger transformation. It's very strong in the eighth house, and it's very good in Capricorn. But being that it is Pluto, you want to make sure that you're not making any rash decisions, that the transformation that you're making is in the greatest good of yourself and of others. You want to make sure that you're not cutting corners in order to reach that new idea that you developed while you had Mercury retrograde in Libra in the fourth house. And most importantly, you want to make sure that your finances are in order. If by chance you get to hear this before October, maybe sit down and make a budget with your significant other. Maybe sit down and plan out how you are going to run your house. If maybe you guys are moving in, for example, you'll be either joining your finances together. It's also going to affect other eighth house matters, whether it comes to loans, whether it comes to the finances of others that you might inherit. You want to make sure that you have a budget for it. You want to make sure that this transformation is welcomed, that you're not pushing away the money by negativity or negative energy, right? Moving on, we've got the full moon in Aries. Again, this is a social house. It's probably going to bring an end to some sort of relationship you've been having, or questions you've been having about certain relationships you've had in your life. And for my Geminis out there, like I always say, be careful who you attract on the full moon, but especially when your Aries full moon is being activated, happens once a year. What is going on? You might end up going off the deep end, saying something you don't mean. You are a Gemini after all, and you just off the cuff will communicate exactly what's on your mind. And being that Mercury will still be in Virgo, in its own sign, I wouldn't be surprised if it has something to do with creating that balance between friendships and home, and having that tug of war, like, should I be at home or should I be with my friends? Now is the time for you to decide what is more important. Where are your alliances most needed? And so that full moon might bring those questions into your mindset, right? Into your mind. Then, luckily for you, Mercury moves into Libra on October 10th. So the very next day. And this is your fifth house. So again, that's why I'm thinking it's that tug of war, romantic life, home life versus your outside life, the friends you choose, the people that are in your life, and what that means for your financial future, what that means. Who are you actually reliant upon? Where are your alliances supposed to be? Where do you feel most aligned? Are you supportive of your partner when you're constantly going out with, your friends and spending X amount of money, and then there's no real honoring of the mutual finances? Because again, Pluto is getting activated in the eighth house. There could be a question about whether or not you are actually supporting the family properly, right? So there might be an end to maybe a social activity that you've been super into that may not help to support the family that you're trying to create. Moving on, we've got the Mercury direct in Libra on the 10th, and Saturn goes direct in Aquarius on October 23rd, the moment we've all been waiting for. This year, Saturn has, kicked all of us around, and it's finally going direct, and you're no exception. Your belief systems have gone through a transformation and the Saturn transformation is all about asking you, what is worthy? What is worth it? Are you making the right decisions? Sometimes Saturn sends you uncomfortable situations like, a husband or a significant other or a wife making an ultimatum on your finances and balancing your social and home life. I'm telling you, this is the vibes I'm getting for you, Gemini, this month. But once those belief systems have been challenged, now Saturn is going direct. Are you going to implement those changes? Are you actually going to get into alignment with your destiny? Are you going to make the right decisions? And hopefully you all do, because there's always consequences when you go against Saturn. And it being an Aquarius, the fact that Aquarius is just all about the law, about the repercussions for your actions, the results, and the ethical way that you live your life. Maybe it's time to make the changes you need to make, Gemini, in order to make the people around you feel appreciated, feel loved. And it could be completely opposite. Maybe you need to realize that you're not being appreciated, you're not being loved because they're not putting your family first. And so you need to decide, is this the right situation you want to be living in? And again, that's why I recommend, if you're listening to this before October, create a budget. Start sitting down, planning out your finances, making some sort of way around some of the challenges you've been facing throughout this year, especially as Saturn is going direct. You get an opportunity to realign yourself, right? Then, we have all of the planets in Scorpio. They finally start with Venus entering Scorpio on October 23rd, the same day, by the way, that Saturn goes direct in the ninth house. Venus is entering Scorpio in the sixth. That's basically in square to each other. The energy that you have here is so connected to the sixth house themes, whether it's about balancing your life, balancing your work and life, right? Creating healthy habits, creating healthy ways to live your life, and definitely being of service as opposed to being served. So Venus is going to enter the sixth house, followed by the sun entering the sixth house on the same day, on October 23rd. What you want to ensure is that you're making the right moves to support those around you, that you're thinking about how you're serving others, that you're working on transforming yourself and focusing on outside. And it becomes a challenge for a Gemini just because there are so many things going on inside of your head that you're not necessarily aware of the outside of you. And this might be a call to looking at the life around you, looking at what you've built, creating more healthy systems, creating more balance in your life. And hopefully you guys will achieve it, especially as the new moon solar eclipse hits that sixth house on October 25th. This might be that you haven't listened to that Saturn direct and you still are stubborn and you're not doing what you got to do, that solar eclipse is going to bring in that energy of change. And whether it happens now or under its influence over the next 6 months, something big might change the way you view your work-life balance, the work that you do on this earth, the things that you're supposed to accomplish. And really, for the first time, Gemini, you could end up being put into a position where, how can I be servant first? What can I do to improve someone else's life? How can I get out of my own way to improve the life of my family and those around me? Right? Not saying that Gemini are, selfish in any way, but there's a lot of things going on inside that people just don't know. And so once you've gained the ability to be, outside perspective, gain that outside perspective from Pluto going direct, gain that outside perspective from changing your philosophies from Saturn direct. And then ultimately, once Scorpio, new moon and eclipse in Scorpio, solar eclipse in Scorpio happens on the 25th, you've got Jupiter that is retrograding into Pisces on October 28th. And that's telling the story of your standing in the world, whether or not you are ready to be married, whether or not you're ready to take on more responsibilities at work. It's going to come and hit you like a ton of bricks. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and it's in your 10th house, meaning there might be exponentially more amounts of opportunities for you to grow, for you to learn, for you to work. For you to increase your income, as Pluto is also hitting your 8th house, right? You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of this opportunity, but also, separate the garbage from the things that are actually good, because as much as Jupiter is going to expand this house, you also have to realize Jupiter gives everything. So you might have to gain some discernment about, again, your 6th house is being active, your 10th house is being active. What job can give you the best work-life balance with the best financial outcome? And that might ultimately be the question you're asking yourself this month with all the opportunities. Maybe you're getting 4, 5, 6 jobs that are being offered to you, and you have to decide, well, for the purpose of this video, I will tell you the best decision is the one that supports your work-life balance. The best decision is the one that helps you to gain the confidence to move forward and to be able to support your family financially and emotionally, not just in terms of, if you make $160,000, does that mean you only get to see your kids 2 times a week? Like maybe you want to have your afternoons off. Maybe you want to work from home and take care of them, or be able to give them rides in the morning and connect with them. Because again, Mercury is going to be in Libra during this time. So it's going to be activating that child energy. And of course, as I say that, Mercury then moves into Scorpio, again, challenging your work, your health, the way you see yourself, in the habits that you do in the world and how you organize yourself. So be careful with the jobs or the opportunities that come whilst Jupiter is in the 10th house in retrograde, because this is going to be that type of energy that's going to challenge you and say, is it about money? Or is it about family? Or is it about, building the balance between your friends, your social life, and your family? What is the best option for you? Then the final thing, Mercury goes into Scorpio on the 29th, like I said, and then Mars goes retrograde in Gemini. And like I said earlier, there's going to be a little bit of mutual reception, a little bit of communication between Mars entering the sign of Gemini, that's traditionally ruled by Mercury, and then Mercury entering the sign of Scorpio, that's traditionally ruled by Mars. So they're going to have a little bit of a conversation between, who am I in this world? What type of energy am I bringing to it? And then, of course, is that energy in balance with the life that I want? Am I doing too much? Am I overexerting myself as a servant? Or is this the right path that I'm on, right? And Mars is going to give you a lot of energy in terms of your personality, in terms of your image, maybe in terms of you talking. And it being retrograde, just be careful as you can continue to make errors in terms of your speech and in terms of what you're saying to people. You want to make sure that you are thinking it before you open your mouth and maybe hurt someone you love or someone you respect. To my Geminis out there, I feel you. I'm a very strong Gemini myself. And sometimes the things you say, you might regret, and that's that Mars in first house energy. The decisions you make, you might regret. Mars retrograde in first house. Just make sure you're seeing it through. Take your time, especially with all of these activations. I mean, we've got the activation of Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Libra, and Mercury in Scorpio, and all the planets activating in Scorpio. Venus, Sun, Moon and Sun in eclipse, Mercury as well. Then Pluto's activating your eighth house, Saturn's activating your ninth house, Jupiter activating your 10th house, full moon at the very beginning of the month activating your 11th house. Like Uranus is just sitting there opposing Scorpio and all these activations. And of course, Mars to end the month gives you the extra umph and push that you need probably to get some activity done or do something that you've had planned or exercise the plans that you've been ruminating on whilst Mercury was retrograde, Saturn was retrograde, Pluto was retrograde, and now you get to use that energy that Mars is giving you in the first house. So I just want to say good luck to you, Gemini. This has been the October 2022 horoscope. If you would please write in the comments below how this month affected you, if you're seeing these themes in your life, if I've resonated with you in any way. I really love to read them. I'm an astrologer at the end of the day, and I'm obsessed with this and seeing how the stars, impact people's lives lets me know more and more about, the accuracy of my readings, as well as just the interest that I have in how to improve people's lives with astrology. So thank you so much, Gemini. I'm really looking forward to reading your comments, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and please subscribe. This has been Bella Star Astrology, and I am Stella. Have a wonderful day.